Alright, part 4 is here. Alright, scratch what I said last part, where I said, oh, part 4 will be the last part. No, I split them into 2 parts because I didn't realize how big of a dump of cards they did for that last day. So there's so many cards that I split it into 2 parts. So there will be a part 5 coming, and that will be the last preview part. And then I will start getting into the card reviews. So it will be done soon, but it's gonna be a little longer because I gotta break it up a bit more. So the expansion releases November 17. Getting excited for that. We're getting close to it. So let's get into this. Acrobats. Acrobatics, not acrobats. Acrobatics. 3 cost Demon Hunter spell. You draw 2 cards. If you play both this turn, you draw 2 more. So if you play both acrobatics cards, you draw 2 cards and then 4 cards for the second one is what it sounds like. Which already 3 cost draw 2 is already normal baseline stuff because of arcane intellect. So really this card would be very good for if you need like a lot of card draw in your aggressive Demon Hunter deck. Like you need some card draw and you just can't find a good place to grab a card draw. This will probably be a pretty good option that you have. Banana Vendor. 3 cost, 2/4 neutral. Battle Cry, you add 2 bananas to each player's hand. Simple, you just add bananas around. Not too much to say about it. It's just a pretty basic card with a same effect for both players. Most likely you're going to want to have more value out of those bananas because you're probably going to make your deck that way with like playing spell type stuff maybe. So it's fine. Blood of Gahun, not Cthulhu, Gahun. 9 cost, 8/8 elemental with taunt for priest. At the end of your turn you summon a 5/5 copy of a minion from your deck. I think this is pretty decent value. Very good. You want to keep it on the board because then it generates even more value getting those 5/5 copies. I like it. It's pretty good. 9 cost, 8/8. It's a little underwhelming, but already right at the end of that turn that you play it, you get a 5/5 copy of a minion in your deck. So maybe the type of stuff you're having in your deck is stuff with huge effects, but maybe aren't that big of minions. So then when you pull this out with getting those copies, you get this huge effect and you don't really care about the stats too much. Which the stats will then be nice, but the effect is really what you're going for. Or maybe some type of resurrection deck. Maybe you'd put this in. This would actually be I think, pretty good in a resurrection deck. Bumper Car. 2 cost, 1/3 mech for warrior. It has rush, and Death Rattle add 2/1/1 riders with rush to your hand. Pretty small, pretty simple. A lot of rush stuff, which is pretty typical at this point for warrior. Mech is kind of common for warrior now too. Maybe not as much in this current meta. It was very common for Boomsday because you got Dr. Boom, but you probably don't have too much mech for warrior anymore, but rush is pretty darn common. So I think this card works pretty well for warrior. Cage Match Custodian. 2 cost, 2/2 elemental for shaman. Battlecry, you draw a weapon. Still kind of weird in my opinion for Shaman with really weapon stuff. So I don't see this doing much of anything in this current meta. 2 cost 2/2 is already underwhelming. Yes, it tutors a card, but most likely with Shaman, you aren't going to be playing too many weapons anyway. Most Shamans don't even play weapons at this point, so them trying to introduce weapon stuff for Shaman is probably not going to work out too well. So I don't see this being terribly useful. Carnival Barker. 3 cost 3/2 Paladin minion. Whenever you summon a 1 health minion, you give it +1/+2. Pretty useful-ish. You probably aren't playing too... Well, honestly, it's actually very good for the Silverhand recruits. Like, if you got this on the board, you're summoning Silverhand recruits and giving... And those Silverhand recruits are then becoming 2 3s for 2. Which is a normal value for a 2-cost minion. So getting that out of the hero power is super useful. And I think it's helpful for any kind of Silverhand deck, again, that it looks like standard is... A lot of these standard cards are trying to shift for, it looks like. Carnival Clown. 9 cost 4/4 neutral with Taunt. Battlecry, you summon 2 copies of this. If you corrupt it, you fill your board with copies of these. So most likely, the corrupt is very useful and very difficult to pull off. But the corrupt is even more useful if you're doing like a hand buff deck, for example. Because then you buff this up. And then you just get, like, a bunch of, like, for example, like, 7/7 taunts, and you fill your entire board. Very difficult to deal with. Most decks, I should say, cannot stop that sheer amount of value that you just have thrown on the board in one turn. Most options that would be used for stopping that is Twisting Nether, Plague of Death, but even with that stuff, Plague of Death really isn't ran much, and Twisting Nether is not run in a Zoo Warlock, which is a very common Warlock you see all the time. So just getting a full board of that is incredible. A full board of 4/4 taunts for 9 is, I mean, pretty decent. But most likely you are going to want to buff this up in some way before you play it. Or if you don't have anything to buff to play it, then you're probably going to have, like with Druid, where you buff it after it's already out there. But that's going to have to be the next turn when it's already been around for a turn, and hopefully most of them survive. Because then if you don't buff it at all, Flame Strike can deal with it very easily. 4 across the board, done. So, I think it's pretty useful. It could see some play, maybe, but it's just very difficult to get that corrupt off. Circus Medic. 4 cost 3/4 neutral. Battlecry, you restore 4 health. Corrupt, you deal 4 damage instead. So honestly, the corrupt isn't necessarily a huge buff to this. The corrupt is really just kind of changing it slightly for what it does. Instead of restoring 4 health, you instead deal 4. Which in some cases you would maybe rather restore the 4 health because you're low on health, or you're playing priest, for example. It's okay. I don't know where it would fit, but I mean, it's just kind of overall just fine. Not super great and doesn't really fit anywhere, but it's okay. Circus Amalgam. 4 cost, 4/5 neutral. All. with Taunt, and this is all minion types, which I like these kind of cards. All minion types is pretty cool. Very useful in like a lot of stuff. Because now we have a second amalgam. We had Nightmare Amalgam, and now we have Circus Amalgam. Which it's super useful for like any type of like variation type deck. For example, with this, I think if you just have it in your hand, Tent Trasher is just free, but I don't know if that's the interaction that it goes for. If let's say it has a dragon in your hand, it goes, okay, this is not a dragon, so it's a Murloc, so it just takes off that one, and then it just. I don't know how that interaction would work. I would have to test that, or probably someone else will test it. But it's useful. Any amalgam card is just great. Confection Cyclone. 2 cost, 3/2 elemental for mage. Battlecry, you add 2/1/2 sugar elementals to your hand. 3/2's undervalued nowadays, but you get a decent battle cry off of it. Ends up fine. Mage generally likes elementals because there's a lot of elemental type synergy in Mage. So overall, I think it's fine. It's a decent card. Costumed Entertainer. Yeah, okay, I was right. 2 cost, 1/2 neutral. Battlecry, you give a friendly minion in your hand +2/+2. A very good effect. Stats are obviously terrible, so you're not looking for an aggressive deck with this one. You're looking for some kind of hand buff, which the clown, what was it? The clown something. Hold on, let me go back quick. The Carnival Clown would very much like this card because it helps buff a lot. Because then it's just big. So any type of hand buff deck would probably very much like this in their deck, to be honest. We have the Dancing Cobra. 2/1/5. No. 2 cost, 1/5. Beast for Hunter. If you corrupt it, it gains poisonous. Very easy to corrupt, so it's very easy to get that poisonous. So a 1/5 poisonous for 2 is pretty darn good value because you don't really care about the attack. You just care about that high health, which it does very well. I think this is a good card for most Hunter decks and will probably be run fairly often. Darkmoon Dirigibly. I'm not sure what that word. Dirigibly. Sure, why not? 3 cost, 3/2 neutral mech. With Divine Shield, if it's corrupted, you give it Rush as well. So Divine Shield and Rush, then let's look at it that way, because this card is very easy to get that corrupt off. So 3/2 mech with Divine Shield and Rush is very strong. You for sure will not play this right on turn 3 then. But I like it. I very much like the card. I think it's fair and pretty darn good. Any type of mech deck would probably run this. I don't have too much to say about it. I don't think there's too much mech stuff right now, but I mean there could be. Darkmoon Statue. 3 cost, 0/5 neutral. Gives your other minions +1 attack. If you corrupt this though, he gets 4 attacks, so he's then a 3 cost 4/5 that buffs your other minions 1 attack. Which, once it's corrupted, it's actually very good. 3 cost 4/5 is already very strong, plus it's giving a little bit of buff to everything else. Very good. Much better than the war leader. Who is, I don't, he's not good. He's really not. I'm sorry. He's not good. So I think this card is pretty fair. And I think it's pretty strong. I like it. Derailed Coaster. This image is... There's a lot to take in. I really like it. I like the what? Is that popcorn? No. What is in there? I don't know. I really like it though. I like the one guy who's like, I don't know if he's shocked or if he's trying to eat the food. Like he's yelling and then food's going into his mouth as he's yelling. You okay, John? Yeah, he's just got a bunch of popcorn stuck in his mouth. Don't worry about it. 5 cost, 3/2 neutral minion. Battle cry, summon a 1/1 rider with rush for each minion in your hand. That's actually really interesting. Based on how much is in your hand, you summon that much. That's really interesting. Terrible top deck card then, because you get, let's say, 0. I don't know. It's iffy. I'm not the biggest fan of it because it's small, and the rush with the riders is very situational on when you're actually going to get those, and they don't do that much because they're just 1/1s. But I mean, they have a rush, so I mean that's very good. But it's just, it's not great. Dreadlord's Bite. 3 cost, 3/2 Demon Hunter weapon. Outcast, you deal 1 damage to all enemies. Surprisingly, the Outcast isn't that amazing. Most Outcast cards that they've gotten are just like, yeah, Outcast, win. It's like, whoa, no. Like, Outcast does a lot sometimes. Like, 2 cost, draw a card. Outcast, draw another one. It's like, oh, okay, that seems kind of unfair. Outcast, this is free. It's like, whoa, excuse me, what? Well, now it's Outcast. It costs 1. This Outcast isn't that ridiculous. You'd probably even play this without the Outcast sometimes, because the Outcast really isn't that good on this card. And it's kind of situational. Well, no, not really. It's all enemies. So, I mean, it's also going to go to... It is actually going to hit face as well. Would this be good for an aggressive deck? Probably. I think it could be. Maybe. It might be a little slow, but it wouldn't be horrible to probably have in there. But I think there's better aggressive aggro cards for Demon Hunter, so... I mean, this could, but most likely won't be an aggro Demon Hunter. The Faire Arborist, yes. 3 cost, 2/2 Druid minion. You choose one. You either draw a card, or you summon a 2/2 Treant. If you corrupt this, you do both. Very good. The corrupt isn't that needed, especially when you're playing, well, I mean when you're playing the quest, because choose one, you do both anyway. So most likely you are not going to play this in like the quest druid. You play this more in maybe a treant druid, I would guess. Which sadly, like a token treant druid is gone at this point, but I mean, it's not bad. It's still good value. Even if it's not in a treant druid, it's still good value. You could just play it anyway. Fairground Fool. 3 cost, 4/3 for Priest. He has Taunt. Corrupt, you gain +4 attack. Health, not attack. Health. Let's try that again. Corrupt, you gain +4 health. Very good. 3 cost 4/3 taunt is already kind of decent. Corrupting to give it 4 more health is very good, especially in Priest. More health, because then you can heal it back, and then they stick around longer. For example, what you see with Northshire Cleric, and why Priest doesn't really get too many 1/3s. Just unless they're neutral, that's the only way they get to use 1/3s, or the Northshire Cleric. So I think it's pretty good. Fantastic Firebird. 4 cost 3/5 elemental with Wind Fury. Alright. Simple. 3/5 Wind Fury's fine. Cost 4, not bad. I think this card's pretty fair. One of the like fairest Wind Fury cards I've ever seen, to be honest. Because a lot of the Wind Furies I just look at it and I'm just like, that's awful. Like, for example, the 3 cost 2/3 Wind Fury. I'm like, that's terrible. Because you're most likely only going to get 1 hit off. Another good Wind Fury card, for example, is Alakia the Windlord's pretty decent. The Walking Fountain is probably like the best Wind Fury I've ever seen. Because even though it's only got 4 attack, it has plenty of health and you get to heal. So it's a great Wind Fury card. With Wind Fury, you want decent attack, but mostly you care about that health a lot more. So I think this one is completely fair and could work in maybe some kind of elemental deck. Feat of Strength. 3 cost warrior spell. You give a random taunt minion in your hand +5/+5. Okay, are we still trying to make taunt warrior a thing? Because last expansion, I don't think it was, even though there was a lot of taunt stuff, if I remember correctly. There was a lot of taunt stuff. This is really a lot, though. That's a huge buff. Has to have a taunt, but it's still a gigantic buff. We're looking at like, hey, here's a decent card for your control warrior if you got taunts in it. It's like, of course my taunt warrior has, or of course my control warrior has taunts in it. Why wouldn't it? Like, that's a lot for 3. That is a lot. Firework Elemental. 5 cost 3/5 elemental for mage. Battlecry, you deal 3 damage to a minion. Corrupt, you deal 12 instead. What a buff after you corrupt that one. It's like, okay, Battlecry, you deal 3. Okay. Corrupt, you instantly kill anything. Like, you can murder... You can destroy, like, a 10/10 minion for 5 now. And get a 3/5 on the board. This card is great. I like it. We're pushing towards elementals for mage, it looks like. And I like the direction it's going. Fizzy Elemental. 9 cost 10/10 elemental for druid. Rush and Taunt. I think Rush and Taunt is a interesting combination, but it always works really well. Especially when it's a 10/10 and only costs 9. So, decent value. Elemental. Kind of weird in Druid, I've always thought of, because Druid really doesn't get too many elementals. Like, this is the first elemental I think I've seen in a while for Druid. I may be wrong, but I don't think they get too much elemental love, to be honest. I like it, but like, I don't know. It's cool. It's good. Foxy Fraud. 2 cost 3/2 rogue minion. Battlecry, your next combo card this turn costs 2 less. Very useful then for if you're playing a lot of combo cards, which I don't see like, most rogue decks do have combo cards. Generally, they have combo cards. So really, kind of putting this into any rogue deck would probably serve you pretty well. Because technically then you're playing this for free. And then you play the combo card. Because you're taking off 2 from the combo card. And this costs 2. So basically you're getting a free 3/2 body on the board. So I think it's pretty good. Most rogues run combo cards, so it could go into lots of decks. Free admission. Hold on, that's not fair. That's free. 3-cost Warlock spell. You draw 2 minions. If they are both demons, you reduce their cost by 2. Alright. So, again, looking for a very heavy demon warlock, it looks like. Because, like, if you just have, like, let's say you have decent amount of spells, and then all your minions are just demons. This card technically costs you -1 mana. They give you mana to play this card at this point. That's pretty good. I like it. Probably won't be seen because sadly Warlock doesn't run too many demons in standard, but hey, I like it. Game Master. 2-cost 2/3 mage minion. The first secret you play each turn costs only 1. Oh boy. More secret stuff for mage, and I'm liking it. I'd save you a lot of mana on that first secret. Man, that's just good. I like it. Like turn 3, you could play a Game Master, and then you could play a secret, because that's your first secret you're playing that turn. Which is a lot of value on turn 3 for sure. Because let's say you play Game Master and then you play Explosive Runes. I don't think that's in standard anymore, but like that's good. Actually, that's like the easiest way to probably get a rigged fair game to trigger off is like on turn 3 you just play Game Master, play rigged fair game, and then you get 3 cards on the next turn already. Man, that's good. That is a good value right there. Good value. But now we're here at the grand finale of the mage card, apparently. This isn't the last card, but it's called the grand finale, so we gotta make it epic. Except it's a rare card. It should be an epic card. 8-cost mage spell. You summon an 8/8 elemental. Repeat for each elemental you played last turn. Okay, so this is looking like, hey, let's play elementals again with mage. Because guess what? If you play a bunch of elementals in one turn, you get to get a bunch of 8/8 elementals. Hopefully those elementals you played last turn died so you could just fill up your board with a bunch of 8/8 elementals. But my goodness, I like it. Because most likely then, best way to get your value out of this is to play a bunch of small elementals. Fire elemental, flame elemental, another fire elemental, flame elemental, flame elemental. And then the next turn, 5 8/8s. Whoa. Like, you can't stop that amount of value again without a huge board clear card. That costs 8 or 9. Dang, nabbit, I like it. Guy worm? It's a weird, I don't know. 3-cost 3/2 elemental. That's an elemental? Alright. It's a neutral. Battlecry, if you play as an elemental last turn, you deal 3 damage. Pretty simple. Makes sense. Looking towards that elemental stuff a bit more again. I think it's fair. That's all I got for that one. Idol of Yasharaj. 8 cost priest spell. You summon a 10/10 copy of a minion in your deck. Makes sense for Yasharaj because of what he has always done. Most likely for the priest deck, you're maybe gonna end up doing stuff with maybe Death Rattle, Resurrection type deck with this, I would guess. More likely that Resurrection one, I'm guessing. You maybe run Yasharaj too then. Man, I don't actually really look at these pictures completely and all the stuff completely until I record it for the preview. Because it's like, it's more of my genuine reaction than of where it can kind of go. For the review, I look over more stuff. But for the preview, I kind of just grab it, download it, throw it in. And then I talk about it whenever I have time. But anyway, this is an amazing picture. Oh, we're not tall enough? How about we stand on each other? And I love this kind of thing. Like, there's like the tall guy thing or whatever, and it's just like two people on top of each other. It's like these three elves like trying to blend in and just be, look, we're a normal height. You're three people. Right, anyway. Inconspicuous Rider. 3 cost, 2/2 neutral. Battlecry, you cast a secret from your deck. Battlecry is pretty good. More secret stuff. I think this is fine. Works well for probably Mage and Hunter. Hunter again. Hunter can use a few of the secret stuff, and Mage is looking very much like they're liking secrets this expansion, so this is also another option that you have here. I think it's just, I think it's a good time. I think it's good. Insight. 2 cost priest spell. You draw a minion. Corrupt. You reduce its cost by 2. Simple. I don't know. It's very simple. I don't know how useful this would actually be. Because, like, you are tutoring a specific card, but it's only just a minion. And then you're reducing the cost by 2, which is how much this costs anyway. So really, you're just drawing the minion, making it cheaper, but because you spent 2, it's kind of like you're playing, you're ending up paying the same amount anyway. I mean, the only way that it's super helpful of reducing is going with like a combo deck and you only have a few minions. So you draw with this to reduce the cost of a minion for your combo to work. Or for you to get your combo off faster. I'm not exactly sure where it's trying to go with this, but I'm not seeing it. Knife Fender. 4 cost, 3/4 neutral. Battlecry, you deal 4 damage to each hero. Simple. Painful for everyone involved. Seems like a Warlock card. Probably most useful for like Priest or Warlock. Warlock because they have stuff where it's like, if you take damage, do stuff. So then this helps that kind of. Priest can heal it back and they'll be fine. Paladin can probably heal it back. So it's not that exciting. It's not great. Faire Ritualist. 3 cost, 4/4 taunt for neutral taunt. Battlecry, add a random 4 cost minion to your opponent's hand. I don't think that risk is worth it by giving them a random 4 cost. Because their 4 cost will probably be able to deal with the 4/4. And maybe even stick around more. I don't know. I don't think that's worth it at all. I'd rather just play a normal 3 cost minion. Which could be like a 3 cost 3/4. So really you're getting like 1 attack and taunt and you give your opponent a free minion. Well, a 4-cost. You give your opponent a 4-cost minion to probably deal with this. Because they could probably kill it, most likely. Or they'll just kill each other, and really you got nothing out of it. Because your opponent used a card that was given to them to deal with the card that you put in your deck. So it's not good. Line Hopper. 3-cost, 3/4 Demon Hunter card. Demon Hunter minion, I should specify. Your outcast cards cost 1 less. Great, so remember that card that I said, hey, outcast, it costs 1? Yeah, now it's back to free. Yeah. Why? Why would you do this? Why? Stop making outcast more broken than it already is. Why do you do this? Oh yeah, this is an outcast card? Oh, let me play it for free. You know, 0 cost, 1/1, outcast, draw card. Oh look, I-beam, and since it's on the outside, it would cost 1. But since it costs 1 less, it's now free. And it's just like, come on, guys. What are you trying to do to me? Are you trying to make us all go insane? Oh, I don't even... It's good. That's basically all I can say. Through all that frustration of just like, why would you do this? It's good. If you couldn't tell. Minari Mosher. 3-cost, 3/4 demon. Man, he is rocking out. Warlock demon. Battlecry, give a friendly demon +3 attack and lifesteal this turn. No, that's pretty good. I like it. Lifesteal is generally pretty darn useful for Warlock because they do not have many options for healing. And could maybe be going towards a demon-type deck, hopefully, for Warlock. Because I would like to see that a bit more than zoo all the time. The Mask of Cthulhu. 7-cost mage spell. You deal 10 damage, randomly split among all enemies. Why do they do this kind of stuff to me? I already don't like the Cthulhu card. Like any of the Cthulhu cards. Now we have the Mask of Cthulhu that does what Cthulhu basically does. It's most likely just gonna like... It's gonna probably like clear the board and do damage to face. And it's just... Why do we keep doing this Cthulhu stuff? Stop, please. Nobody likes Cthulhu. It's just like, yes, congratulations, you draw the you win card. Cthulhu is now played. Mask of Cthulhu is a bit more balanced, at least, than actual Cthulhu. Like normal Cthulhu and the new Cthulhu. They are both broken still. The new Cthulhu is actually worse than the old Cthulhu. Like, more... Like not actually worse as in it's bad. Like, worse as in no one likes it. Like, why do you do this? Mech-Cthulhu upset us as well. Now you have... I thought you guys didn't like OTK decks. Why are you throwing... Hey, this is literally... This one card is basically an OTK deck. At this point. That's what it turned to. Mask of Cthulhu is fine-ish. Still kind of frustrating, but I don't like... Pyroblast costs 3 more, and it does the same amount of damage. It's just not randomly split. It's like if you throw randomly split on it, it apparently makes it worse, so you can make it cheaper. I don't think so. I think this should cost like maybe 8 or 9. Midway Maniac. 2-cost, 1/5 demon with taunt for Warlock. I think this is completely fair. Fine demon. It's got taunt. Demon Warlocks may be coming, baby. I'd be okay with that. Inari Storm Crash. What a name. 5 cost, 4/5 legendary for Shaman. On your turn, your hero has +2 attack and 1 fury. Alright, this card right here can make Shaman a bit more useful with the attacking hero stuff, but it's also still just a one-off card. So it still makes it very difficult to get behind all that stuff. Of like, with Shaman, it's like, if your hero attacked, you summon another duelist. It's like, Shaman really doesn't have too many options for that. They're like, here's an option. It's like, yeah, but it's a one-off. It's a legendary. Like, the effect is really cool. Like, I like the effect. It's basically like, hey, I have Doomhammer right now. Which is already basically a 5 cost effect. So I think it's pretty good. Gahun, the Blood God. 8 cost, 8/5, Priest, legendary. Battlecry, you draw 2 cards. They cost health instead of mana. Which, health instead of mana was very much a Warlock thing. But Priest doing it is a lot stronger. Because Priest eventually can just end up healing that back up. Or like, for example, even if you draw 2 cards, or like you take, you heal and you're costing you health instead. That's really good, honestly, as well. Because it's like, for example, for a wild card, you have the greater healing potion. 4 cost, restore 12. So instead for this, you would take 4 damage and then heal 12. So overall, you would end up healing 8 for free. Good value right there. So this card can be, honestly, I think is pretty darn good. That is everything for right now. Next time will be part 5, which should be coming out shortly after this. It will probably be a day after or a few hours after this is released. A lot of stuff will be coming out before the 17th, because the plan is to get all the previews done, all the reviews done, and then once the 17th hit, everything will already be out for video-wise. And then probably that Friday I won't have anything for that week then. And then starting the next week, I'm hoping to get back into Wind Waker and start working on that again, which should be fun. I kind of remember where we left off, but we will get there when we get there. So I'll see you next time for part 5.